I invite you to take a short walk with me. The Anglican tradition calls the Sunday after Easter Low Sunday. The name apparently arose from being that Sunday after a week of high observance and celebration that follows and competes with that kind of energy. Sounds a bit like a liturgical hangover, doesn't it? So they began to understand it as a kind of week off. After a high came the low. The fact that Low Sunday exists in our culture is evidence, I think, of a complete lack and misunderstanding of the true meaning of Easter. In the coming weeks, I want to explore with you how the joy of Easter actually took root. It was not a celebration followed by a low, but rather a series of challenges that were overcome in a variety of ways. Last week I argued that thanks to the coronavirus, we're actually feeling something that the disciples also felt. They too were locked down. They too were feeling threatened by something they could not control. For them it was a military occupation. For us, it's a viral invasion. What we have before us is an opportunity to understand more fully how a resurrection hope can emerge during a time of siege. The world would be transformed by the early emerging church, but that church and the individuals in it found this vision of hope and good news through steps, not all at once. In our tradition, we have what's called the Stations of the Cross. It's our way to place ourselves in the struggle it takes to truly love all humanity, to embrace justice, and to keep the faith. The cost of doing that. But in the summer of 1988, Father Sabino Palamberi, professor of anthropology at the Salesian University in Rome, came up with a new concept. He proposed stations of the resurrection. This fits with this vision of how resurrection just doesn't instantaneously happen, but it happens with a combination of the pressures of oppression and steps of courage. The way the disciples ultimately began to embrace this vision of hope. So I'm going to explore with you in the weeks ahead the stations of the resurrection. Like the disciples, we have a way to understand our faith more fully now that we are all in an environment that threatens our existence. How did they overcome? What stations of faith did they pass through? I invite you to stay tuned. On the Worship Lounge menu today, the Reverend Dr. John Cater returns with his reflections on Doubting Thomas. Also, we're starting a new series called Back to the Future, where I interview clergy who got their start at St. John's or who have had a profound relationship with St. John's over the years, and talk to them not only about the past, but what the future holds for the church, what we can learn through this challenging time. This week, we welcome the Reverend Kathleen Moore from St. James Episcopal Church in Arlington, Vermont, and the Reverend Phil Brochard, Rector of All Souls Episcopal Church in Berkeley. And please take advantage of our regular offerings, including the Family Lounge, the Music Lounge, and the Prayer Lounge. Next week, we go live for our Sunday service at 10 a.m. when we will celebrate Earth Day. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe. Ask for help. Offer kindness to others. And keep the faith.